My parents exploited me as a domestic worker. The day before Christmas, Mom sneered. Your sister's friends are spending Christmas here. That's just 35 people. Her plan involved me cooking, cleaning, and bowing low. I just smiled. Later that night, I flew away to Paris for a getaway. Upon their arrival to an empty kitchen, her face went very pale, yet the ultimate shock was truly still to unfold. Have you ever felt like you were stuck in a role you never auditioned for? Always the fixer, the provider, the one everyone leans on until you're nothing but a prop in their lives? What happens when you finally decide enough is enough? When you realize your biggest problem isn't their demands, but your inability to say one tiny, powerful word. My name is Daniel, and for 28 years, I was the human duct tape of my family. The printer broke? Daniel. Casserole dish crusted? Daniel. Trash day? Daniel. At my hotel job, I'm an assistant event manager, schedules, seating charts, everything organized. I love lists. I love ticking boxes. I love drawers that close properly and receipts that actually match what I bought. My parents call me dependable. I call myself the guy who keeps the lights on while everyone else gets to enjoy the party. Then there's Leia, my sister. She's 24, all glitter and creative chaos. She texts in exclamation points and probably has never plugged in a phone charger all the way. We grew up in this loud, busy house where help always meant I did it, and family often felt like I paid for it. Leia always had an audience. I always had a dish towel. When Mom had people over, I was setting out plates and wiping sticky fingerprints off the fridge, while Leia was upstairs, trying on outfits, only to make a grand, last-minute entrance. My first job, Dad charged me $150 for room and board. When Leia got hers, Mom just beamed. Just focus on your dreams, sweetie. December at the hotel is insane. Office parties, charity galas. My calendar is a color-coded spreadsheet with break times penciled in like some cruel joke. But this year, I'd circled December 24th. It was mine. I'd saved 3 PTO days back-to-back for the first time ever. I just wanted quiet. I wanted to wake up without a single thing on a list. The day before Christmas Eve, I dropped by my parents' place, a tin of hotel bakery cookies in hand. Mom was in the kitchen, rocking a sweatshirt that read, "Hosting is my cardio." Dad was glued to a football game, muted. Leia was sprawled on the couch, bare feet tucked under her, scrolling on her phone. Mom saw me, and her voice immediately shifted into that bright, "I've already made a plan for you" tone. "Oh, perfect timing," she chirped. "Your sister's friends are spending Christmas here. Only 35 people." I actually laughed. It was this choked, disbelieving sound, like a mistake I couldn't take back. 35. Leia just beamed, not even looking up. It's basically my whole creative cohort, plus a few once-in-a-lifetime vibe types. Mom was already pulling out the massive roasting pan. "We'll do stations," she declared. "Grazing board, carving, dessert. Daniel, you can do the timeline." "Me?" I heard myself ask, like I was some random guest she was conscripting. "Obviously you," Dad grunted, eyes still on the screen. "You're good at this." Mom was already listing things off. "We need chairs. Extra ice. A vegetarian option. You'll handle the turkey, the ham, the salmon. Oh, and ask your hotel if you can borrow chafing dishes. Leia needs a mocktail bar. And there's a gluten-free person." "Too gluten-free," Leia corrected, still scrolling. Mom looked at me, a smirk playing on her lips, a smirk I knew all too well. "Don't worry," she added, almost an afterthought. "Grown men don't need to open presents. They need to take responsibility." Dad, without missing a beat, chimed in, "Get used to discipline, son. You've got 24 hours. My mouth did that tight, small smile, the one where I want to scream no, but the whole damn room expects yes. The kitchen was bright, counters gleaming, the roasting pan ringing like a bell when Mom set it down. I glanced at the fridge, where a sticky note simply said, "Menu," with a blank line beneath it, like a dare. I could feel a list, a terrifying, sprawling list, trying to crawl into my head and set up shop. 35, I repeated, barely a whisper. "Only," Mom insisted. Leia, meanwhile, snapped a photo of the empty cutting board. "Christmas content," she announced. I set the cookies on the counter. I took a breath, so deep and quiet I hoped no one could hear it. And then, very softly, I said, "Got it." I didn't argue. Not there. Not then. I walked to the sink, turned on the water, watched it run hot. The faucet hissed like a secret. The trigger wasn't their words, not really. It was that smirk. It was the only 35. It was the way my name was already scrawled on a blank menu in a house that wasn't even mine. I dried my hands on a lemon-scented towel and put the cookies in the pantry. Nobody asked what I wanted for Christmas. They never do. Someone should have. My job title at the hotel says Assistant Event Manager. In my family, that translates to free labor with a smile. It started small. 12 years old, I was plating deviled eggs because you're so neat with your hands. By 16, I was grilling for 20 because you're good with timing. By 20, I was the one who knew where Mom kept the extra tablecloths and how to wedge a folding table so it didn't wobble. You're a natural, Mom would exclaim, like she'd discovered a prodigy. Money? Oh, money always showed up with a new name. Dad called it discipline when he took $150 from my part-time paycheck for room and board. Mom called it helping when she added me to the family phone plan, then conveniently forgot to switch her card back after I'd paid 2 months in a row. Leia called it energy when she'd text, "Can you spot me $83? The universe will return it." The universe, bless its heart, never did. There are scenes that play in my head like reruns. Senior year, my graduation party was combined with Leia's early portfolio showing. I was setting up lights, hauling ice, and getting told to move my own graduation cake to make room for her ring light. When I got a promotion at the hotel, I brought champagne. Mom reached past the bottle. "Oh, good. You can finally buy those new dining chairs." We did. I paid. Dad, ever the philosopher, added, "A man provides." Like furniture was a test I'd been told about too late. The family group chat? That was a beehive of assignments. "Daniel, can you pick up Aunt Ray at 4? Daniel, Costco run. Daniel, table for 12. I learned to answer with a thumbs-up emoji or not at all. If I didn't respond, Mom would text, "Don't be cold," then call the hotel, just popping by, asking my manager to remind me about our big family weekend. My manager, bless his polite soul, would smile and bring me the message like a beautiful flower with a giant thorn embedded in it. Leia, meanwhile, floated through it all like a helium balloon. She soft-launched 3 businesses and hard-launched exactly 0. A candle brand, pop-up brunches, a podcast that was mostly just mood boards. She even got a leased SUV gifted to her because safety. And then she cried when Dad said she had to pay the insurance. "It's predatory," she wailed. I watched Dad somehow twist predatory into a story about how the world is unfair to artists. He told me to make room. Make room for what? For who? For the curated, Instagram-perfect version of my sister that only exists in captions? Last Christmas, I cooked for 18 because Grandma can't do it anymore. I wrote the shopping list, paid for all the extras, that was the rule now, and sliced my thumb when the good knife met the wrong angle. Mom dabbed at the blood with a dish towel. "You okay?" She didn't slow down. None of us did. We served at 5 p.m. sharp. In March, Leia hosted a vision brunch for 12 and, naturally, borrowed my hotel discount to rent chafing dishes. "You can bring them," she said. "You know how to set them up." After, she posted a photo with my hands clearly in the frame, captioned, "Grateful for community." I got 2 texts from strangers asking if I catered. I wrote back, "No." Then a 3rd text from Mom. "We could make a business of this." April was the rent conversation. "Stop wasting money," Dad advised. "Move back home. Save." He said, save, like it meant the same thing to everyone. Our house had 1 bathroom and 3 people who never knocked. I stayed put in my 1 bedroom, with creaky floors and the glorious silence I paid for. I swallowed their disappointment like a bitter pill with no water. Summer was a blur at the hotel. Every Saturday was a wedding, candle centerpieces, DJs who thought volume was love. I stacked up overtime and bought a suitcase. I started a folder on my laptop called Elsewhere. Photos, lists, prices. Not because I hated my family, but because I desperately wanted to know what it felt like to be in a room where nobody knew my last name. By fall, Mom's "Can you" requests had morphed into Yule. She sent a Google sheet titled Christmas Plan. The first line wasn't "Who's coming," but "Menu. Daniel, under budget." She wrote, "We'll discuss," which I knew meant, "You'll pay, and we'll conveniently forget." Then the only 35 bombshell landed. Leia's friends. Leia's people. People with names like Forrest, Arya, Sage, and one guy who just goes by initials. Mom listed out a wish list like a Pinterest board with a heartbeat. Just think how nice it'll look, she gushed. We'll need rental chairs, 35 tablecloths, 7 extra plates. You can borrow from the hotel. No one will notice. I said they will. She just waved me off. It's the season, Dad added. We need a signature cocktail. You do those, right? Not too sweet. Use that good ice. And you might as well cover the Costco run. Your card gets points. Leia chimed in. No dairy, no soy, no nuts, no nightshades. But make it cozy. I looked at them, and I saw the shape of it. Me at dawn, basting 2 birds, slicing vegetables, composing text to staff to find a spare heat lamp. Me with a timer in one hand, a ladle in the other. Me at 10 p.m., hauling out trash while Leia filmed a "What a Night" Instagram story. And Mom, beaming, saying, "We did that." Then Mom tossed in the final garnish. "And you'll drop the deposit for the tent today?" she asked, as if the weather was on my payroll. "It's only $900 to hold." "Only," Dad echoed, taking that word out like a pocket knife and cleaning his nails with it. "Who's paying me back?" I asked. The room went silent. Dead silent. Like I'd just uttered a curse word. Mom recovered first. "Don't be transactional, Daniel," she said, her voice sharp. "It's ugly. This is family." Dad added, "We're giving you a project. You should be grateful." Grateful for what? Being staff at my own family's party? I swallowed. I nodded. I nodded because that's what I do when my head is screaming and my mouth wants to be quiet. That night, I opened the Elsewhere folder. I looked at a picture I'd saved, a gray street, a bakery on the corner, a blue door. I stared at it until my shoulders finally dropped and the tension left me. I hadn't told anyone about that folder. It wasn't a secret. It was a boundary that hadn't learned to speak yet. The meeting happened the next morning because Mom loves a meeting. She had a printed agenda with checkboxes and a title, Christmas Run of Show. Dad had his coach voice on. Leia had her camera set on selfie mode, ready for some behind-the-scenes content. We sat at the kitchen table. The roasting pan glinted from the counter like a trophy I hadn't asked for. Mom started. "Okay, Daniel, you'll shop tonight. 2 turkeys, 1 ham, salmon fillet for the pescatarians, veggie station for the plant-based people. We'll set up the rental chairs at noon tomorrow. You can pick them up at 9 a.m. And no, it wasn't loud. It was clean, crisp. 3 heads snapped up. Leia's camera stopped recording. Mom blinked, her smile frozen in place like a stuck screen. "What?" "No," I repeated. "I'm not catering your party." Dad leaned back. "Watch your tone." "This is my tone," I said, keeping it level. Leia laughed. "The mean kind." "You're joking," she said. "I'm not," I replied. "I'm not your chef. I'm not your caterer. I'm not your rental account. I'm your son. I'm Leia's brother." Mom's voice went syrupy, thick with false sweetness. "Sweetheart, we're family. We show up." "I show up," I said, my voice gaining strength. "I've shown up for years. I've shown up with my hands and my card." Dad's jaw clenched. "A man provides." "I know," I finished for him. "I've heard that since I was 15. Here's mine. A man sets limits. I'm not cooking Christmas for 35 of Leia's friends. I'm not paying deposits. I'm not borrowing chafing dishes. I'm not risking my job for your party." Leia scorched me with a look. "So what? We just cancel? You'll embarrass me." "No," I said. "You'll host your party with your resources." "Daniel," Mom snapped, her real voice now, the one with edges. "Don't ruin the holiday." I held her gaze. "I'm not ruining it. I'm opting out of being your staff." Dad slapped his palm on the table. Silverware jumped. "We will not be disrespected in our own house." I stood up. My legs felt like they belonged to me. "Then respect me in your house." Mom reached for the last lever. "After everything we've done for you." I nodded slowly. "I know. You raised me. You fed me. And since I was 16, I paid you $150 a month for the privilege. I added you to my phone plan. I covered groceries when your card glitched. I ran your parties. I took Grandma to appointments. I love you. I'm done being your unpaid employee." Leia's voice cracked into a whine. "You're just jealous," she accused. "People like me." "I like you," I said softly. "I don't like being used." Dad's face went crimson. "If you walk out, don't come back tomorrow. You're banned from Christmas." Banned. Like I was a teenager asking to borrow the car. I looked at Leia's camera lens, black and flat. I looked at Mom's agenda. I looked at the glinting roasting pan. This isn't about revenge, I said, my voice surprisingly calm. This is about closure. They stared at me. The words hung in the middle of the table like a glass of water nobody wanted to touch. What does that even mean? Leia snapped. It means I'm closing the role you wrote for me, I said. You can be angry. You can host. You can cancel. I'm not your solution. Mom stood up. If you leave, you're selfish. If I stay, I'm a servant, I said. I choose selfish. Dad pointed at the door. Go then. Okay, I said. I didn't slam anything. I walked to the front hall. I picked up my coat. And then, without a word, I walked into the kitchen and took the cookies I'd brought earlier out of the pantry. I knew they'd just get repurposed without asking. Leia whispered something with my name in it, like a curse. Mom said, her voice dripping with certainty, he'll be back. I turned at the threshold. Grandma's covered, I said, a small, triumphant smile playing on my lips. I already arranged her taxi for Christmas morning and a lunch reservation for 2 at noon. She won't be here either way. 2. Mom snapped. With who? With whoever shows up for her, I replied. You're invited. Dad scoffed. We have guests. I know, I said. I stepped out into the cold, pulled the door gently shut, and put my phone on airplane mode the moment I got into my car. The sky was that flat, honest kind of winter blue. I sat there, watching the steam from my breath fade. This time, leaving wasn't a storm. It was a door that finally closed all the way, the first time I pushed it. I didn't make a speech to my phone. I made moves. At home, I opened my laptop and clicked on the Elsewhere folder. There, at the top, was a confirmation email from 3 weeks ago, sitting like a quiet yes. Round trip to Paris. Red eye out of our city at 11:45 p.m. Back on the 28th. Hotel booked with points I'd saved all year. Cash tips in a jar. Overtime. Lunch made at home. The ticket had been my gift to myself. I hadn't told anyone because, in my family, news gets recruited into the group chat before it even gets to be yours. I checked in, picked a window seat, printed the boarding pass because paper calms me. I turned my phone back on. 12 missed calls. 3 from Mom. 2 from Dad. 7 from Leia. The texts hit in a stack. Mom, you're being obscene. Dad, grow up. Leia, you're killing my event. Mom, asterisk we'll talk at 6. Be here. Asterisk Dad, non-negotiable. I didn't go at 6. I packed a carry-on with 3 sweaters, 2 pairs of jeans, socks, a paperback, my passport, and a list of bakeries I wanted to try. I fed my neighbor's cat, prearranged, texted her a photo, left a spare key in exchange for watering my plant. At 7:03, Mom called. I let it ring. At 7:05, Dad called. I let it ring. At 7:12, Leia, in all caps. Everyone is counting on you. I sent one text. I'm not hosting your party. At 8:40, I ordered a taxi to the airport. At 9:10, I put my phone on Do Not Disturb for everyone except Grandma and the airline. At 9:45, a notification, Leia added you to an Instagram story. I didn't click. At 10:02 p.m., an email pinged from the tent rental place. Hi Daniel. Just confirming we have a tentative hold. Please complete deposit by 8 p.m. to secure. I replied, please release. I won't be paying or picking up. I CC'd Mom. At 10:10, a reply from Mom. Are you sick? At 10:15, a reply from the rental place. Released as requested. At 10:27, I called Grandma. I'm going to be away for a few days, I said. Your taxi is for 11 a.m. on the 25th. Lunch is at noon. Order number is 48271. They know you like the window table. She chuckled. You always did have a head, she said warmly. Go see something you want. At 11:45 p.m., wheels up. Phone in airplane mode. The city fell away like a complicated conversation I didn't need to finish. I slept terribly and wonderfully all at once. I woke up over a pale grid of fields, and the first thought in my head was, I took my own time back. When I turned my phone on after landing, it went berserk. 39 missed calls. 112 texts. A new group chat named Emergency Now. The scroll read like a frantic script. By the time the first guests arrived at my parents' house, the kitchen was still bare. Counters empty. Ovens cold. Nothing prepared. Mom's smirk had vanished, her face draining of color as she realized there was no meal waiting, only a crowd expecting service. 5:10 p.m. Mom. Where are you? 5:12 p.m. Leia. We need the keys to the church hall. 5:15 p.m. Dad. Pick up your phone. 5:21 p.m. Mom. The turkey is still frozen. 5:30 p.m. Leia. You're ruining my brand. 5:37 p.m. Mom. Daniel, be a man. 5:41 p.m. Dad. We'll remember this. 6 p.m. Unknown. Asterisk, this is Sage. Is there quinoa? Asterisk, 6:02 p.m. Mom. Well, answer. 6:14 p.m. Leia. I told everyone you had a meltdown. 6:21 p.m. Mom. Your aunt is on her way. 6:33 p.m. Mom. Where is the good salt? 6:34 p.m. Leia. We need ice. 6:35 p.m. Mom. We need ice. 6:40 p.m. Dad. Stubborn. 6:46 p.m. Mom. We found rice. 6:52 p.m. Leia. Our oven is slow. 7:10 p.m. Mom. Guests are arriving. Message after message kept proving the same truth. The kitchen they counted on me to fill had stayed empty, and every missing dish turned into another frantic text. 7:14 p.m. Mom. Where is the carving knife? I stared at that last one for a long second. Then I put my phone down on the tiny hotel desk. Outside my window, a street moved like a quiet thought. I put on a code and went to find a bakery that appeared in 5 different blog posts as nothing special, but good. The line moved fast. The woman handed me a bag and said something I didn't catch. I said, merci, the one word I had in me. Back in my room, another stack. 7:30 p.m. Leia. There's no mocktails. 7:32 p.m. Mom. The gluten-free person brought bread. 7:40 p.m. Dad. We're out of plates. 7:41 p.m. Mom. Where's the good salt? I typed. Asterisk, my kitchen doesn't have the good salt. I took it home months ago. Asterisk, then deleted it. Better not to crack the door, not even a little. At 8:12 p.m., a single text from Grandma. Asterisk, taxi scheduled. Thank you. Asterisk, at 9:03 p.m., the tone shifted. Mom, you're banned from New Year's until you apologize. Dad, you pay your share or you're cut off? Leia, you're dead to me. Cut. Off from what? The unpaid internship I'd held in their lives? I ate warm bread and fell asleep at 9:40 p.m., like a person who hadn't slept in weeks. Morning. Christmas. Quiet streets. Gray sky. A church bell somewhere I didn't belong to. I made coffee that tasted like a burnt idea and walked along a river. Nobody knew me. Nobody asked for ice. At noon, Grandma sent a photo. Her, with a paper crown from a Christmas cracker, sitting by a window, a plate of roasted chicken and potatoes next to her. Next to her, Aunt Ray, with the same crown, smiling. The caption, good. Warm. I smiled so hard my face hurt. Afternoon. I took inventory, like I do after events. But this time, the inventory was mine. Family phone plan. I logged in, paid the current balance, scheduled a split for the end of the cycle. My line only. I texted Mom and Leia links to transfer their lines to their own accounts by the 31st. Streaming services. Changed passwords. Logged out of all devices. Wholesale club. Removed the household add-on. Grocery app. Deleted saved addresses other than mine. Removed my card. Bank. Moved my savings to a new bank with 2-factor login and a name nobody knows. Credit freeze with all 3 bureaus. Pins in a place my family would never check. Mail. Set up informed delivery and a hold for 5 days. House keys. The spare I'd given Mom last year went missing. I scheduled a locksmith for my place on the 29th. New locks. New codes. I wasn't punishing. I was cleaning. I was turning off the taps only I had turned on. At 2:40 p.m., Mom tried soft. We can reset after the holiday, she wrote. Just admit you were dramatic. I typed back. I'm not resetting to being your staff, she replied with a single word. Ungrateful. At 3:12 p.m., Leia posted a story. People in Christmas sweaters in my parents' living room, eating something that looked like rice with cranberry sauce. Caption, we made it work. Good. They should learn how. At 5 p.m., Dad finally said the real part. Equity line, he wrote. Asterisk, we need to talk about tapping your savings for family needs. You're being selfish. Asterisk, I put my phone face down and stared at the patterned hotel wallpaper until the room stopped spinning. Then I wrote 3 sentences. Asterisk, I'm not your emergency fund. I will help Grandma directly. Everything else is no. Asterisk, he sent back. We won't forget this. Me either. On the 26th, I sat in a cafe and opened my email. There was an offer from our European partner hotel. A 3-month assignment starting late January, housing provided, a stipend, a chance to learn their systems. I'd applied in October at 2 a.m., then told myself it was a daydream. HR had sent the offer on the 23rd. I hadn't even seen it. I accepted. New start date, January 23rd, Paris. Not a vacation. Work. A door I chose. I texted my landlord when I got back to my room. Notice given. I messaged Mike from work. Can you store 2 boxes? He sent back a thumbs up and a question. You okay? I wrote. Better than okay. On the 27th, I flew home. At baggage claim, my phone caught a final batch. Mom, so you're really doing this? Dad. Asterisk Paris. Childish. Asterisk Leia. No one will help me move in January. Grandma. Bring me a magnet. I put my phone in my pocket and smiled. A magnet I could do. Back at my apartment, I made a list and taped it to the fridge. Exit. 1 column for accounts, 1 for dates, 1 for done. I started checking boxes. The real surprise wasn't Paris. It was that the part of me they counted on, silent, useful, available, didn't come back with me. January cooled everything down. People get tired of being loud. Mom tried one more time with, we can fix this if you sign a family agreement. And I answered, no. Dad sent a link to a storage unit and wrote, we need space at your place, and I answered, my lease is up the 20th. Leia texted, last chance to support my launch, and I sent a screenshot of my calendar with a little airplane icon. I moved in small trips, 2 boxes to Mike, 1 suitcase to my parents' doorstep for Grandma. Paris magnet, a scarf, a note with my new number, and the hours I'd be awake her time. I rang the bell and left before Mom could open the door. On my last night in my apartment, I made pasta and ate it on the floor because the chairs were already gone. I wrote a list on a sticky note and stuck it in my passport. I will help Grandma directly. I will not co-sign feelings. I will not be the family's unpaid staff. I will not call control love. I will answer when I mean yes. I will say no without essays. At the airport, my phone buzzed. Mom, are you proud of yourself? I wrote, I'm proud I stopped lying. She sent, to who? I wrote, to myself. In Paris, my room is small, and the radiator clicks, and the window looks at a slice of sky. I walk to work. I count dogs on the way. I learn how the elevators here always pause before they remember you. I make coffee on a hot plate and toast bread until it's almost burned because that's how I like it. I answer my phone when Grandma calls. I send her photos of bridges and pigeons. I ignore the group chat until the phone quiets on its own. People keep asking for a moral to this story. I don't have a sentence for everyone. I have a sentence for me. I didn't escape. I closed the door I'd been holding open for years because I thought that's what good sons do. The party went on without me. Good. It should. It's theirs. So is the cleanup. I'm not a servant. I'm not a wallet. I'm not stock for other people's seasons. My name is Daniel. I'm 28. I booked the trip. I took it. I took the job. I took my life back in small, boring, permanent ways. When I fly home someday, I'll bring Grandma another magnet. I'll bring myself back to a house where the kitchen is empty until I decide to cook. And if someone says, only 35, I'll smile and say the smallest, clearest word I own, no. Have you ever found yourself in a similar situation, constantly giving until you felt completely drained? What was your turning point? Or what would you have done in my place? I'd really love to hear your thoughts.